Hey, if you're a cloud solution provider, a CSP, listen up. You could be sitting on an absolute gold mine. And that gold mine, it's called Power BI. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can turn this amazing tool into some serious business value, not just for your clients, but for you too. So let's jump right in. All right, here's the game plan. First, we're going to tackle the why, the huge market shift that basically put Power BI on everyone's radar. Then we'll get into the what. What is that one core problem your customers actually have? And of course, how you can fix it. And finally, we'll dig into the how, the nitty-gritty technical blueprint to make it all work.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Because really, to get why this is such a big deal now, you've got to understand this massive shift in the market that happened not too long ago.
And when I say massive, I mean explosive. Get this. Back in 2016, a Gartner report found that a mind-boggling 90,000 organizations were already on board with Power BI. For a tool that was still pretty new on the scene, that kind of adoption, it was just, wow, almost unheard of.
So you gotta ask, what was the rocket fuel behind this thing? Well, it really came down to two super smart moves from Microsoft. First, they just blew up the old pricing model. They made Power BI so much more affordable than the competition, which totally opened the floodgates for smaller businesses. But it wasn't just a race to the bottom on price. No way. They were also pushing out major product improvements, like all the time. The tool was literally getting better and more powerful every single month.
And it was about more than just a cheap price tag and cool features. That very same Gartner report saw what was really going on. They placed Microsoft furthest right on completeness of vision. What does that even mean? It means the experts looked at the field and said, whoa, Microsoft isn't just trying to keep up here. They're actually drawing the map for where this whole industry is headed.
In that vision, it was kind of like a three-pronged attack. First, they made it ridiculously easy to get your data. Think natural language queries, like you could literally just ask your computer a question. Second, they built up this huge partner network. Hey, that's you guys, the CSPs, to get it into everyone's hands. And third, they had a plan for pre-built solutions so customers could give value right away. It was a brilliant strategy, all built for speed and massive scale.
Okay, so we've covered the market, we've covered the grand strategy, but let's cut through all that. What's the real, fundamental problem that all this fancy tech is actually trying to solve for your customers? What's at the heart of all this?
It all boils down to something incredibly simple. Strip away all the jargon, all the tech, all the strategy decks, and what are you left with? A customer who just wants to see their own data. That's it. They know they've got this treasure trove of information. They need someone like you to come in and help them draw the treasure map.
And that, right there, is your opening. That's where you, the CSP, come into the picture. So let's talk about how you can take that one simple need and spin it into real, tangible business value. And of course, new revenue for you.
So how do you actually make money off this? Well, it starts with the basics, right? Building custom dashboards for clients. But the real magic, the real value, is in everything you can wrap around that. You can package it with data migration services, you can start offering things like product forecasts. You can really move up the food chain. And all of this is built on that solid foundational revenue you're already getting from licensing Power BI Pro and just managing the service on your client's behalf.
All right, we've talked about the why this is a big deal and the what your customer needs. Now it's time for the how. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit and look at the actual technical blueprint that lets you deliver this stuff securely, not just for one customer, but for all of them.
Let's just trace the path of the data for a second so you can see how secure this is. It all starts when a user logs in, and that's authenticated through Azure Active Directory. Next, this thing called the Enterprise Gateway opens up a super secure bridge to the customer's data that's still on their own servers. Then, you, the partner, come in and publish the reports. And the final step? These things called content packs work like a smart mailman, making sure the right reports get delivered to exactly the right person.
Okay, let's zoom in on a few of those key pieces. First up, AD Connect. This is the magic ingredient that totally solves the whole login headache. What it does is it syncs up your customer's regular old on-premise Active Directory with Azure AD in the cloud. So for the user, nothing changes. It's totally seamless. They just log in like normal. But behind the scenes, you're getting all the power and security of the cloud. It's brilliant.
Next, let's talk about that Enterprise Gateway. Honestly, the best way to picture this is as a secure bridge. A lot of your customers have data that, for security or compliance reasons, absolutely cannot leave their servers, right? This gateway lets Power BI reach across that bridge, ask the data a question, and pull back just the answer, the insight, into the cloud, all without the raw data ever leaving the building. For security, that is an absolute game changer.
And finally, after you've built all these great reports, how do you get them to the right people? Well, that's where organizational content packs come into play. Just think of them as smart, secure envelopes. You can bundle up a whole set of reports, dashboards, and datasets into one pack, and then send that envelope only to the people who are supposed to see it. It could be a whole department, or it could be just a single exec. Super targeted.
So this really breaks down who does what, and it's super clear. The customer, they have one simple job. They give you one Azure AD account that has the right permissions. That's it. Then you, the partner, you take that account and you do all the heavy lifting, the building, the merging of data, the publishing of reports, all of it.
So let's walk through a real-world example. Imagine a sales guy for the North America region. He logs in. Instantly, Azure AD knows exactly who he is. Then, the content pack that's assigned to him kicks in and basically says, you're the North America guy. You only get to see North America data. And just like that, he gets a perfectly tailored, totally secure view of exactly what he needs to see, and nothing more. It just works every time.
And that brings us to our last point, which honestly might be the most important one. We've spent a lot of time talking about the how all this tech fits together. But the real magic, the real opportunity, comes when you stop and ask, what else could we do with this?
Look, here's the bottom line. The tech we just walked through can create a ton of value just by doing something as simple as splitting up sales data by region. So the big question I want to leave you with is this. What other treasures are hiding inside your customers' data? What kind of incredible insights are just waiting to be discovered using the data points they already have? What happens when you start mashing up sales data with support tickets or marketing campaigns with logistics info? The potential is just sitting there. It's waiting for you to unlock it.